1. WNBPA's bold stand against WNBA's CBA proposal, a fight for change. 2. WNBA players deserve fair pay, lessons from U.S. soccer's mistake sports opinion. 3. Angel Reese blasts disrespectful WNBA proposal, players ready to sit out. 1. WNBPA's bold stand against WNBA's CBA proposal, a fight for change. The WNBA's proposed collective bargaining agreement has been met with fierce resistance from the Women's National Basketball Players Association, WNBPA, who claim that the offer fails to address critical issues that have been at the forefront of their demands since opting out of the current CBA in October. In a strongly worded statement released on Thursday, the WNBPA expressed its disappointment with the league's proposal, which it believes does not adequately address the need for improved working conditions and a fair share of league revenue. The statement comes after an in-person meeting between the WNBPA and the WNBA in Indianapolis, which marked the first time the two parties have met in person since December. The meeting was attended by over 40 players, including league all-stars such as Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark, as well as executive committee members and player representatives. Despite the large turnout, the WNBPA expressed its discontent with the league's proposal, which it believes falls short of the transformational change that players have been advocating for. The WNBPA has been vocal about its demands for a new CBA that prioritizes the needs of players, including improved working conditions, increased revenue sharing, and a greater say in league decision-making. The league's proposal, however, has been met with skepticism by players, who feel that it does not go far enough in addressing their concerns. As the WNBA continues to experience explosive growth, with media rights, ratings, revenue, team valuations, expansion fees, attendance, and ticket sales all on the rise, the WNBPA believes that players should be fairly compensated for their contributions to the league's success. The WNBPA has made it clear that it will not back down from its demands and is committed to returning to the negotiating table in pursuit of a fair and equitable CBA. The tense nature of the CBA negotiations has sparked frustration among players, with several stars speaking out about their disappointment with the league's proposal. Sata Sabaly has called the proposal a slap in the face, while Brianna Stewart has claimed that the league kind of just ignored everything we said in negotiations. The meeting took place ahead of this weekend's WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis, which highlights the league's surge in popularity and plans for growth beyond the 2025 season. The league has added expansion teams in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia, and has plans to expand further to 18 teams by 2030. As the WNBA continues to grow and evolve, the WNBPA remains committed to fighting for the rights and interests of its players. The association has made it clear that it will not settle for a CBA that does not prioritize the needs of players and will continue to push for a fair and equitable agreement. The outcome of the CBA negotiations will have significant implications for the future of the WNBA and the women's basketball community as a whole. Will the league and the WNBPA be able to reach a resolution that satisfies the demands of players, or will the negotiations ultimately lead to a work stoppage? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the WNBPA is committed to fighting for the rights and interests of its players, and will not back down from its demands. What do you think about the WNBA's proposed CBA? Do you think the league's proposal goes far enough in addressing the needs of players, or do you believe that the WNBPA is justified in its demands for a more equitable agreement? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. WNBA players deserve fair pay, lessons from U.S. soccer's mistake sports opinion. The WNBA must heed the lessons learned from U.S. soccer and ensure that players are compensated fairly before tensions escalate. A crucial moment for the WNBA. In Indianapolis, as WNBA officials engage in contract negotiations with players, it's vital they avoid the pitfalls that U.S. soccer encountered in 2019 by misjudging the determination of their athletes. Ignoring the players' resolve could lead to unfavorable outcomes, both in negotiations and in public perception. Recently, during the All-Star Weekend, the WNBA and its players held their first in-person meeting in several months. Describing the meeting as lacking in substance would be an understatement. Players expressed their disappointment, labeling it a wasted opportunity, disrespectful, and a source of frustration. However, the gathering did serve a significant purpose. With 40 players in attendance, ranging from seasoned veterans to newcomers, including both superstars and role players, this marked the largest assembly outside the wubble, sending a clear message of unity and commitment to the league. Nafisa Collier, a forward for the Minnesota Lynx and a vice president of the WNBPA, emphasized the need for progress, stating, "I hope it expedites the process so we're not going back and forth where they're trying to test us and see who flinches first. Because we're not going to." She added, "We are always going to stand firm." Hopefully, they just realized that earlier, so that we're not wasting time over things that we're not moving on. The perception of gratitude. The WNBA, much like U.S. soccer, appears to operate under the assumption that players should be thankful merely for the opportunity to compete. This mindset, which suggests that the financial support from the NBA and certain owners justifies ongoing exploitation of players, is troubling. It's interesting to note that this issue rarely arises in men's sports, even among teams that consistently operate at a loss. While the league did not respond to the players on Friday, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert commented to the Associated Press that negotiations are a process. She stated, "We're both in listening mode. We're going back and forth on issues. We know what's important to players. We know what's important to owners and striking the right balance. But does the WNBA truly understand the players' needs? It has been 9 months since the players opted out of their previous contract and 5 months since they proposed ideas for salary increases and a revised pay structure. Arriving unprepared or unwilling to negotiate at such a critical juncture suggests a lack of urgency and seriousness from the league." Brianna Stewart, a forward for the New York Liberty and also a union vice president, expressed her shock at the meeting's lack of agreement, noting, "Not many things did we both agree on. I think there were 2 bullet points where we were like, okay, we can move forward with this. The consequences of disregarding women. This situation reflects a broader issue of how women are often not taken seriously. When the U.S. women's national soccer team filed a lawsuit against U.S. soccer for equal pay in 2019, just months before the World Cup, the federation underestimated the players' determination. Despite the gravity of their actions, suing their employer with every team member signing on, the federation mistakenly believed the women would eventually relent, opting for a lesser deal rather than holding out for what they rightfully deserved. U.S. soccer's most significant error was failing to recognize the overwhelming public support for the players. The chance of equal pay. Equal pay, from fans after the U.S. women's team won the World Cup in France served as a powerful rebuke to the federation and all who undervalued women. A time of growth for the WNBA. Currently, the WNBA is experiencing a period of remarkable growth. A lucrative media rights deal set to commence next year will provide the league with $200 million annually, more than tripling its current revenue. Franchise values are skyrocketing, with the newly established Golden State Valkyries valued at $500 million and several other teams worth over $250 million, according to Sportico. Additionally, sponsors are eager to invest in the league. It is no secret that WNBA players are significantly underpaid, with maximum salaries capped at $250,000 and revenue sharing hovering around 10%, in stark contrast to the 50% typical in most professional men's leagues. The players are rightfully demanding more, fully aware of their worth, and, like the U.S. women's national team in 2019, they are no longer willing to settle for less. Aya Wilson, center for the Las Vegas Aces and a business owner herself, articulated this sentiment: "We're not just players that run up and down the court and do amazing things. Some of us are business owners, some of us are foundation owners. So we know what it takes. When we see the revenue, when we see things flowing into our league, we want that. We are going to demand that because we see it and we see the growth. And when you see a business growing, obviously the people that are working for the business should have some say in that as well. So I think we know what we are talking about for sure." The public is also aware of this disparity. Most fans, aside from a few who perpetuate the misleading narrative that the WNBA relies on the NBA, will support players like Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, Wilson, and Collier over wealthy owners and league executives. Sponsors are likely to align with the players as well, and if the league fails to recognize this, it may face regrettable consequences. Nneka Ogwumike, the long-serving union president, stated, "We as players know what we're worth. The fans know what we're worth. Now we need the league to know what we're worth." Ultimately, the WNBA and its players will reach an agreement. The league faces a pivotal choice: to be perceived as a fair partner that genuinely seeks to support its players or as an authoritarian entity that must be coerced into doing the right thing. It may be wise for the WNBA to consult U.S. Soccer to determine which approach yields better results. 3. Angel Reese blasts disrespectful WNBA proposal, players ready to sit out? Angel Reese, a prominent player for the Chicago Sky in the WNBA, expressed strong dissatisfaction with the league's recent proposal during labor negotiations with the players' union. Reese described the proposal as disrespectful and emphasized the importance of speaking up for what the players believe is fair. She highlighted the need for current and future players to receive proper compensation and support. Reese's comments reflect a broader sentiment among WNBA players who feel undervalued and are pushing for better terms in the collective bargaining agreement. The negotiations have been met with criticism from various players, including New York Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu and Phoenix Mercury's Satu Sabauli, who have voiced their concerns about the league's offers. Despite the challenges, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert remains optimistic about reaching a transformative agreement. Reese's outspokenness on social media and in public forums underscores the financial struggles faced by many WNBA players, including her own experiences of feeling financially strained despite her professional success. The ongoing negotiations between the players' union and the league are crucial for shaping the future of women's basketball and ensuring fair treatment and compensation for all athletes involved.